today. It is my pleasure to welcome you guys today. So, what is Education USA? Education USA is a global network that it's present in 178 countries around the world. We provide accurate, comprehensive, and current information to all international students that want to know about the procedures, requirements to apply to any university that is accredited in the United States. There are 4,700 from where to choose from. And each and every one of them will have different requirements. So today, we will be talking about the arts degree and how do you do that. These are some of the free services that we provide. For example, how to choose from the 4,700 institutions. What do you need to do? How to prepare? What standardized tests do you need to take? Do you need them? How to write an essay, for example. How to complete your college application. How to find financial aid. How to apply for your student visa. We are not responsible for the visa process. However, we can provide you with tips and information for you guys to apply. And then at the end, once you are admitted to any of the 4,700 universities, we can provide you with tips on how to prepare for your departure. So some of the common questions that we usually have as in Education USA Network is, do we have scholarships? Unfortunately, we do not have any scholarships, but we have different tools and services that will allow you to find that right fit, that university that has what you are looking for. For example, are there any opportunities to improve your skills? Of course, and you have to find out which institution has what you are looking for. And when it comes to agreements and any sort of contracts with different universities, whether it is national-wise and the United States, we are that bridge that connects them. Now, we will have a short poll for you guys to do real quickly. See for a minute. Go ahead and please answer the following questions. Where are you guys joining us from? All right, so go ahead and complete this short survey. What field of studies are you interested in? And do you need an advice on any of the following questions? Portfolio organization, audition tips, or how to start, for example. Go ahead, I will give you a few minutes for you guys to answer those questions. Remember, we are a Department of State network, and we offer free services when it comes to applying to any of the 4,000 institutions. We are about to finish. Give you a few seconds for you guys to revise any of the questions. All right. We have still some kids that are answering. All right, so we have 67% of our participants are joining us from Central America, 28% from North America, and 6% from the Caribbean. So we have that a lot of our students are interested in the arts and management, all right? That's 61%. 11% are interested in music, also 11% in theater or drama, 6% in graphic design and games, and 11% also on fashion design. We have also that students would like to know a lot about portfolio organization, and second choice, how to start, and audition tips. Thank you again for participating in this short poll. So with no further ado, I will leave you with Gil Enriquez Matos from New York Film Academy, who will present on the different opportunities that this great institution has for you guys.
Great. Thanks a lot, Jackson. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everybody. Definitely a pleasure to be here with you guys in the times of COVID, right? I want to apologize if you guys hear any snoring. I have two French bulldogs that are sleeping right below me, and they're very loud. So they sound like freight trains sometimes. But again, thanks a lot, Jackson. Thank you, Education USA, and thank you, everybody, for joining. My name is Gil Enrique Matos. I'm Regional Director for New York Film Academy for Latin America and the Caribbean. And I know a lot of you guys have like this big cloud over your head sometimes, thinking like, man, I don't know how do I do an audition? How do I do a portfolio? So I'm going to speak as to like what our institution looks for, but I think a lot of it is going to apply to some of the other institutions as well, because they're pretty general things here. So I'm going to share with you guys my presentation here. So let's see here. There we go. So just to give you guys a general background, so we're New York Film Academy. We're in New York, LA, and in South Beach in Miami. I'm located in Miami. And these are the different programs we offer. So depending on what you're applying to, you're going to need different things, right? So the only programs that require an audition is going to be acting or musical theater. All of our other programs are going to require you to submit a creative portfolio. So whether it's filmmaking, cinematography, 3D animation, video game design, all those things will require a portfolio. Everything else will require an audition. So some audition tips. Main thing is, find a piece that feels like you. And I know that that's pretty general there, but I think something that you can relate to, something that makes sense to you. Don't try to interpret material that, you have no idea what's going on or what's happening in the scene. We require something to be age appropriate. So I would say somewhere within a 10-year range of what your current age is. I used to make the mistake of not saying that. So what I ended up with was a lot of people doing Mean Girls all the time. And we don't want to see Mean Girls anymore. No violence, no profanity. And then choose monologues that are active. So a character that's clearly pursuing an objective with another character. And then show your unique interpretation of the material. I would say that's the most important thing there. And my advice to what to stay away from is going to be related to stay away from things that are too iconic. So I'll give you an example. I had one kid one time in Chile who was doing Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver. You're not going to do, are you talking to me differently than Robert De Niro did, right? So stay away from something that's going to be very difficult for us to see you and separate you from the original thing. And the other reason for doing that is because at the end of the day, if it is something that's too iconic, you're going to be kind of copying what you saw. And we don't want to see you copying, we want to see you acting. So that's why we definitely recommend that you choose something from a play, something you can interpret yourself. But if you do want to choose something from a movie or a TV show, you have the ability to do so. So it does need to be something that is published. So it can't be something that you make up yourself. I'm just trying to keep track of the timer here so I don't take up too much time. And the biggest thing is have fun and follow the instructions. And the reason why I say follow the instructions is a big mistake people make, and the very first thing they do is not following the instructions. So like, for example, New York Film Academy, we require you to do 60 to 90-second monologues. And what a lot of people do sometimes, they might go off at like a 3 or 4 minute monologue. So the very first instruction you got, you broke. So make sure that you are following the instructions. Some people write their own monologues, and that's written in the instructions as well. Don't write your own monologues, choose something that is published. So make sure you're reading the detailed guidelines first. And as always, all of our institutions, we're very hands-on, and we're there to help you guys with questions regarding auditions or guidelines. So when you apply to the school, you will be able to schedule either virtual audition or record yourself and submit your audition. So these are just simple audition tips here. Obviously memorize your pieces. You don't want to be reading them. Slate your name and the title of the piece at the beginning. Say your name, what you're going to be doing. The eye line, look next to the camera. You don't want to be staring into the camera and doing it. It's like in a movie, right? They don't stare directly. They don't break that wall. So you don't want to do that during your monologue either. The framing of your piece as well, the frame that you're going to choose to sit down, choose to stand up regarding, this is going to relate directly to the type of monologue you're going to be reading. And the other stuff goes without saying. Don't have any distraction going on in the background. Don't wear clothes that are going to distract from your performance, so make sure you're not wearing something that has a big logo on it or has like a saying on it or anything like that. So you want to keep that as plain as possible. At New York Film Academy, we don't want you to use props. We don't want you to wear theatrical makeup or anything like that. We really just want to see you doing your monologue and doing your audition. So don't use a microphone. That goes for musical theater. I did have one student one time who recorded her musical theater audition in a karaoke booth, and obviously that doesn't work for a lot of different reasons. So make sure that you're not using a microphone and you're keeping it simple in that sense. Audition tips. These are some helpful resources for monologues. So if you guys want to write some of these down, again, when you apply to the school, we will give you a guideline and a list of links that you can apply to. Links that you can find monologues and different type of monologues on there. So a lot of these are really good as well. In terms of your portfolios, and this one's just one slide. The portfolio is going to be a creative portfolio, and it's just that itself, right? We want to see your creativity. So if that's in drawings, if that's in photos, that's great. If that's things you've written, that's great as well. But at the end of the day, your creative portfolio should focus on what you're applying to. And what I mean by that is if you're applying to our filmmaking program, your creative portfolio can show me photographs, it can show me different pictures, it can show me different drawings you've done, but it should focus on different things that you've shot. And I want to kind of touch upon that as well, because when I tell people, we want to see things you've shot, they immediately freeze up and they're like, oh man, I don't have professional cameras. I don't have professional lighting. I don't have, all this sound and actors and all that. We don't need all that. We really just want to see that you're able to visually tell a story. I had a girl, one of the best portfolios I've seen. She had a couple of videos that she shot on her phone and edited herself. One was about her golden retriever, Leo. It was a 3-minute cute little video. And this is Leo, cute music in the background. He loves to do 3 things. He loves to run, sleep, and play. And she was able to visually give you different angles and carry the story about Leo's a day in the life of Leo. It was captivating. It was great. Didn't need actors. Didn't need a crazy camera. Did it all on her phone and edited on her phone. So, if you're doing stuff with your friends, if you're putting stuff up on YouTube, different things like that, we want to see it. Main thing to know with that is that everything that you're submitting to us does have to be in English or have English subtitles. So keep that in mind as well when you're submitting different things. We want to know what your role was in everything. So if you're showing us a couple of short clips from your movie, I want to know what your role was in it, because if you just show me a movie, I don't know if you were the lighting person. I don't know if you were the sound. I don't know if you were one of the actors. So if you directed it, you wrote it, give us those detailed descriptions. The personalization part, I feel it's when you're showing a portfolio, it's always good to include like a bio. I like that because I think the people that are reviewing these, they see so many of these that it's good to put a face to the name and to the work. And then, a little fun bio on there as well. When you're explaining your role in different movies, give us some background of it. Talk about some challenges that you faced when you were shooting this film. Maybe it was really hot. Maybe there was somebody that was bothering you the whole time you're trying to shoot. Maybe you had technical issues, so give us some background as to, different challenges that you faced and you were able to overcome in shooting that film. Because guys, when you're a filmmaker, when you're a producer, when you're a screenwriter, you're going to face different challenges. So we want to know how you overcame those as well. Again, I mentioned the focus. The focus of it should be what you're applying to. So if you're doing producing, if you're doing screenwriting, show us a lot of other things, show us your creativity, but the focus should be what you're applying to. And as I mentioned, the subtitle and translation of materials, make sure you're doing that as well. Now, with something like screenwriting, obviously, I don't expect you to write a 130-page screenplay and submit that in for your portfolio, because for one, it's going to be a lot of work for you, and two, they're not going to read all that, right? So, so what you can do with screenwriting, and this applies to filmmaking or producing or whatever you're showing, if you want to show various work, just show us different snippets of it, and again, presenting it. So I always like to say, make believe you're sitting on the Tonight Show couch and you're about to present the movie that you're in right now, and like, yeah, in this scene my character is doing blah 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 blah, or so in this scene you're going to see this and this in this movie, so present the material that you're going to show on there if you're showing a lot of different things. And then the final thing, and this applies to auditions as well, be confident, have fun, follow the instructions. I always tell students, when you're doing the auditions, this is one of the few times in your career that you're going to be able to choose your own material. So have fun with it. You know, in the real world, your agent or your casting agent is going to call you up and they're going to tell you, hey, you know, there's something I want you to audition for. It's tomorrow. Here's a script, memorize it. You're not going to have the ability to prepare for it and choose two different things and, you know, choose something to your liking. So have fun with that part of it. And, you know, I think the last thing is to remember, and this applies to New York Film Academy, I'm sure it applies to AMDA and Columbia as well, is that we're not, this isn't American Idol, you know, it's not Simon Cowell yelling at you guys and getting you off the stage. So don't be nervous about it. Have fun with it. And, you know, we're all here to help you guys out with all that stuff. So we'll come back and talk a little bit more about the school specific stuff. But if you guys do have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat. And I want to thank you guys for your time.
Great. Thank you, Joe. You just remind me how excited that our school, like Performing Arts can sitting together rather than with another STEM school, you know, all the students looking for the engineer program. Great. Hello, guys. My name is Junnan Liao. I'm Assistant Director of International Outreach here at AMDA. And yeah, as you can see, I'm Chinese, I'm Asian, and I traveled from States like 10 years ago, like you guys, the international students. So today, I think I'm not only represent AMDA because I represent something bigger. As the international students, I know every single step from the day when you start to thinking, okay, should I just go to another country, until the day that you finish your degree and get your TESOL from here to right here. That's a whole journey, just mixed with of, you know, the sweetness, bitterness. But I'm very glad to, you know, today at Education USA to having us to share this wonderful moment and information about the Performing Arts and Arts University in the United States in large. So let me just share my screen. Great. Today, I think I want to start with something bigger because I think Joe already covered something about Audition. So when the student started to thinking that I want to go to the United States to study the arts, no matter it's master degree or your bachelor degree level, students always have a question, which degree option do I have? On these pages, I want to share which is very, very significant difference between the BA and a BFA. If you are a high school student, you want to go for the 4 years degree program in the States. Usually, Bachelor of the Arts, it's a more liberal arts education where students will study more fundamental like English 101, psychology. It's regular, you can understand that's a very regular college degree program. But on the other hand, the Bachelor of the Fine Arts, which is 4 years, but it's like a practical arts degree program. Compared to the BA, if you are a BFA candidate, you will spend most of your time, like at least the 3 year, right? And to the studio and to work with your mentor and your faculty member hand in hand to another craft, no matter you are the singer, dancer, actor, or just a painter, study from the fine arts. But if you are the undergrad students going to master level, we still have a different focus. The first one is specialized master we call MM, just to make example. And because a music, MM is a program that is very focused on, like, for example, musician, or you are the pianist or cellist, or you want to just go for the traditional conservatory, like music school. And pretty much students were gonna choose MM. And for the general master program, like MA, it's like 1 or 2 years, depends on the major that you are going to apply. And it's very traditional master level. And after this Master of Arts, students probably gonna go for the PhD if they want. But on the other hand, if you done the BFA, most of the students will continue to do the MFA. By the way, MFA, it's a terminal degree in the fine arts world. So there's no PhD in fine arts. So if you are holding up MFA, which means you are eligible to teach in the college setting. So that's the end of the story, your academic life. So good thing, right? But in the United States, we also have something very special we call a conservatory. And I know maybe New York Film Academy and AMDA, we both have this conservatory before, maybe now. And this program is 2 years, is conservatory training. This program is not a degree granting at all. But for students who are, for example, 2 stream of the students, if you are a high school student, you just want to get the training, but don't want to get the degree, go for this 2 years conservatory, this is not the end of the world, because after these 2 years, you are still have the chance to continue another 2 years. No matter you, for example, at AMDA, you can finish 2 years in New York and then transfer to LA campus or another campus in West Coast to get another 2 years, 2+2 bi-coast education to get your BFA. Or if your school have articulation program, you can transfer your 2 years conservatory training to another school to get your BFA. So I think neither of these conservatory or BFA will make you or break you. It really depends on your how do you want yourself to be after these 2 or 4 years, and just to be an actor, singer, dancer, and go for the casting call directly, or just I need the the degree in the end. I think another part I want to cover is admission requirement. Really for the performing arts school like AMDA. By the way, AMDA, I didn't mention that AMDA is the school that got dedicated only to the performing arts. We only offer acting, musical theater, and a dance theater program in the undergrad level. So that's why majority of their students who want to audition for us, they have to go through the audition, no exceptional. And I will leave the audition later, but I want to emphasize a little bit about the essay, personal statement, and the reference letter here. Here, as you can see, every single student who want to go to apply for the US university, you have to write something. But here, if you're going to apply for the performing arts school like us, we don't want to see on your personal statement is something like your list of your training experience. That's not what we want to see. We want to see you as a real person, as a student, no matter if it's a high school or college student, to tell us a story. The story about you. How did you choose the way want to be an actor when you are very young? What's the journey? What's the story behind your training as a ballerina? I want to hear that very, very rich and interesting story about you. And also the reference letter. Try not to find a math teacher to write the reference letter if you go for the acting program. That doesn't really help. But I would prefer you just submit something like your someone can speak for you as artistic 60 characters. That's fine. And the transcript, the GPA actually is very easy. That is very depends on the school that you are going to apply. For AMDA, we only request 2.5 out of 4. And also, if you use common ads to apply, and AMDA can accept the common ads, and also we can use that main essay as your supplementary essay. And the interview, normally it happens after the audition. So if you haven't got a chance to interview, you can always come back and request interview from your school. I think for admission perspective, we would like to talk to you in person or over the phone or just Zoom to see you as not a character in your audition, but just a real person. All right. Master audition, I think this part Jill already covered something, so I just go very quick. 3 different ways to audition right now in the current climate here. We don't, right now don't schedule in-person audition anymore because of pandemic, but we still have the video and the virtual audition just to check out the school and you are going to apply. I think all of us will accommodate that you leads due to the time difference. And choose the material. Because I want to use musical theater as an example, like how to prepare your audition piece. As you may know, audition for the musical theater, we need 1 song and 1 monologue. For the song, I really want the students to think about, like Jill said, the song really is something about you. You cannot just choose a song if you are 20 years old to choose a song who the singer is like 50 years old. That cannot speak for you. Just to tell us the story behind the lyrics. And for the monologue, and we want to see something contrasting. If you are going for the acting program, we need 2 contrasting monologue. Contrasting means classic and contemporary is kind of like a general difference. And memorize is a key part. You cannot bring your sheet music. You can bring the sheet because we have the piano list for you for the musical theater, but if you are the actor, do not bring your script. That is not in the case. And also the dress code here on this page. And if you are going for the piano playing or celloist playing, you're probably gonna wear the suits because that's classic music. But if you audition for like AMDA, like a theater or musical theater, just wear whatever you feel comfortable. And on time, it's late. In this whole theater world, if your quota is 10, if you're coming like 10, that's late. At least 30 minutes, and you will do a lot of things on the venues with us. I think I want to emphasize this page before I wrap up everything. Forget about AMDA. What are the adjudicator looking for? Because not only AMDA adjudicator, every adjudicator or judge, you may call it, we're looking for what? But I think we are looking for potential. We are not looking for how good you already are. We are looking for something you can bring from your very, very different perspective, like your culture, religion, and your emotion, your idea, your story to this audition. So that's why I want every single student to really think about it. Why you choose AMDA, why you choose New York Film Academy, why you choose CCC. Because this school has something that it can offer to you, which another school cannot offer. Put that in your performing or put that in your personal statement. You will find out that is your best shot to get the audition success. Great, so I will leave the time to Sky and we'll come back later for the more details about the school. Thank you.
Hi, give me one moment. Let me load my screen. Hi, everyone. My name is Sky Rest. I am with Columbia College Chicago. And, I think you're really lucky because we're all going to talk about something, we all talked about something slightly different today. So I'm really going to focus on portfolio components, like the nitty gritty, like down and detailed. So there's a lot of extra steps to think about when you are applying to an arts university. And sometimes they're for admission into the university, and sometimes they are just for scholarship consideration. But if there is an opportunity to submit any extra information to a university, you should absolutely do it. Most universities want to see everything. They want to make a holistic decision. We want to get to know you as a person and see if you're going to be a good fit for our institution. So what is a portfolio? My friends have talked about this a little, but ultimately it's a collection of your best work. So again, like my colleagues were saying, don't let the idea of a portfolio in an audition intimidate you. We do not expect you to be industry professionals. We don't expect you to be professional actors, professional filmmakers, professional arts entrepreneurs. We know that you're students. That's why you're coming to us to learn. So we want to see your best work now that you've made now, or that you will intentionally make for the portfolio submission. So in general guidelines, you can think of it typically from around 10 to 20 pieces of your current work. And typically that you've made within the last couple of years, because work, it improves greatly quickly. So we really don't want to see something from when you were 10. We want to see something recent. And why do we need this? Really, it just helps us make a good decision that you're going to be a good fit at our university and we're going to be a good fit for you. So generally, portfolios have a couple of different types to look for. And again, just like my colleagues were saying, read institutional guidelines for each website. So a personal or thematic portfolio includes imagination artwork. It's your personal ideas and interests in a variety of styles. An observational or breath portfolio is usually from, if you think about it from life drawing, what you see in the world, what you're surrounded by. So, okay. You got what a portfolio is. What makes it great? Like, what are the tips and tricks? Well, really, there are no steadfast tricks. And do keep this in mind. We are not trying to trick you. This is not a trick. We all love art. We care about art. We want to see you thrive. And really, we want to see your story. We want to see your voice. I know it's intimidating, but really just go for it. So, but here are some basic guidelines to kind of help you wrap your brain around it. So keep a portfolio cohesive. Think of it, how can all the images connect to tell one larger story about you? Make sure that each individual piece can feel part of a whole. And it shows product, not potential. We're going to judge your potential. So we are going to see that you're going to have potential at our university. We want to see really good products, really good pieces right now. And you know what? you're applying to an arts university. So yes, follow the institutional guidelines, follow the rules, but please take risks. We look at so many applications and so many portfolios. The ones that stand out to us are the ones that push a little boundaries. And I will show you an example of what I mean by this. But don't be afraid to innovate. And just like my colleagues mentioned, always make sure everything is presented in a professional manner. This is attention to detail that really makes your portfolio shine. So, okay, this is my piece that I think exemplifies risk-taking and rule following all in one. So this student the artist is a female, and she is a comic artist. And so typically a classic rule is that you just want the image to be the center of your portfolio image. You don't want any distracting background. You don't want any framing. We just want to see the piece. However, for this student's entire portfolio, she showed different pages of her comic book. And for each one, she held up her hands, because for her, it was very important that the audience, the viewer, the admissions representatives understand that she is a female, and that it was important to her that she feels it's an industry that is typically dominated by male artists. And so she wanted to convey that extra oomph, that extra something, that, she's a female artist doing this work, breaking traditional boundaries. So I love that piece. And it's really clean. Like the background, even though there's hands in it, it's not distracting. It's perfect example of risk and rule following. I just wanted to show you a couple of pieces that have been submitted before to kind of give you an idea. And I'm going to come back to these. So keep these images in mind. What is going on in them? What do you interpret is going on in these images? Okay, so this is my favorite helpful screen, and I would recommend you screen grab it. It's really hard to have people look at your work sometimes, and to take criticism, and to take advice, and also to give advice and look at other people's work. And first and foremost, trust your instincts. Trust your response to art. Your opinion is valid. So when you look at something, how can you develop an idea further? When you look at one of your pieces, what do you really like? What do you want to see more of? What works in an image? What doesn't work? Maybe if you're making a collage piece, the addition of an additional material like fabric onto a photograph doesn't work, then don't do that. Make another piece and don't add that additional material. What is your emotional response to the piece? Do you feel something? Hopefully you feel something. Even if you are repulsed and you never want to see that image again, that is a strong response. One could argue that that is a successful art piece. Is your image high quality, good color balance? It's pretty basic, but it's such an important component to digital portfolios. Is your piece visually interesting? Not just an interesting subject matter. So my favorite analogy for this is I had a student who had a great photography portfolio, primarily in flower still lifes, which is a challenge to make that interesting, but he did. It was interesting. He also took a road trip to the Grand Canyon in the US, and he was so proud of the road trip. And so he had photos of the road trip. But you know what? Those photos weren't as visually interesting as his flowers. For him, the actual act of doing the road trip was super interesting. But to me, they looked like postcards or Google images that I could find about the Grand Canyon. So sometimes it's really good to try and separate yourself from the emotions that go into making art. I know it's so personal in that it can be really difficult to do that. So if we go back, what draws your eye in to this? What story do you think is happening? Any opportunity you have to tell us an artist statement or additional items about a piece, please feel free to do so. So think about what you think the artist is trying to convey here. You might see burnt images. You might see that reflection of a fire on the wall. Well, in the artist statement, They explained that their house had burnt down, and these were papers that they saved from the house that burnt. And so then they chose to display them like an installation and project an image of fire on the background. You know, once you hear that story, I think it pretty much makes sense. I think the artist definitely was successful in conveying that image. In this one, what do you think is going on here? Do those people look a bit similar? It's because it's the artist themselves, and they were playing with gender roles and gender identities. And that was conveyed in the artist statement. I think it's a really clear depiction of that. I think one could evaluate that that's what is happening in the image. So are you being successful in telling us the story you want us to know with your visual pieces? So just some quick tips for photographing. Like my friend said, you do not need any fancy equipment. We all have smartphones, and you can do anything with a smartphone. Do not let the lack of technology you might have stymie you. Do not go outside of your means to do something. Use the resources you have. Again, you're coming to us to learn. So if it's on loose paper, mount it on a wall. If your lighting does not look white when you photograph it, take it outside and photograph it when it's not in bright sunlight, but when it's in, like, you know, maybe a nice cloudy sky. That'll give you a true white background. Don't use flash. It overpowers an image. It changes the color. Keep your camera still, or your phone, and just so it's not blurry, use a clean, simple background, no distractions in the background. Make sure your image is centerfold. Ask for feedback. So that image I had with all the questions to ask and all the questions someone can ask of you, we love hearing from you. Don't be afraid of us. So many of us who work for arts universities are artists ourselves. This is our favorite part of the job. It's a secret. We love this. So feel free to talk to us. Ask your peers, your teachers, your guidance counselors, your friends, your parents. Ask them for their opinion on your pieces. What do they see in your pieces? Does it match what you want us to see? Also, check out portfolio days. Oftentimes there's universities that participate in that and are very willing to give you feedback. Again, before you submit, make sure you're following each institution's guidelines. The thing about studying in the United States is we all like to be super independent, and we like to do our own thing. And so that means each university has their slightly different guidelines. Your portfolio is organized and clear. You have a thoughtful statement of intent if there's an opportunity for you to submit something in writing. So I'll get back to you shortly with my school. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I will say, when it comes to art, when it comes to the art fields, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, because, as I say, sometimes when it comes to a picture, Sky, you said, you know, some of the Grand Canyon, it looked like postal cards, and your main interest was in the flowers. And so that's something that students should maybe focus on, that it shouldn't be so commercial in a sense, but more on the individual aspects of their interests per se, in that sense. So thank you so much for all of your insights in this sense. We do have some questions so that we're going to run through them. This is for the three of you guys. Portfolio assembly has become competitive these days, and sometimes a portfolio submission constitutes a great deal of what will determine if you'll get accepted or not. How do we approach this in a less intimidating way? Is it valid to say we should let your work speak for itself, or do we jump onto competitive of it all? Hill, hello? Do you guys hear me? Wait, hold on.
There we go.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think that was my fault at first. I think the microphone was muted. So I think with the portfolio, the main thing is, yeah, your work is going to speak for itself. But I think there's also ways that you can present it that makes it a lot cleaner, a lot better, a lot more aesthetically pleasing for the people that are viewing it as well. So I always recommend to students, because technically a lot of our portfolios can be submitted through, like, you can do a Google folder and you can have all your different files on there. But I always recommend students to kind of like go on like a free website like Wix or something, get a template and go up there and just play around and make that your portfolio. And this is something you're going to be able to use after you apply to school as well. You'll be able to update it and keep adding work to it. And this is going to serve as your own portfolio. And again, it's free to do it, right? Because you can just make a free website on like Wix or Vimeo or anything like that. So that's my big advice is, like, yeah, at the end of the day, your work is going to speak for itself, but there's also really cool and innovative ways that you can present it. Because remember, it's a creative portfolio, guys. So not only are you showing your work, but also the way you're presenting it is going to show your creativity as well. As Sky was mentioning, the way her student was holding up the comic book. So I think, keep those things in mind as well when you are submitting it, because it does make a difference the way you're presenting it.
Great. I will add something because our performing arts school, even though we don't request a portfolio, but the same principle can go to the audition, because audition is live. Because that's why when you do your singing, do your accents, or do your ballet style dance, sometimes something will impact the result or your performance at that moment. So we really want the student to think about just prepare. That's just this amount of time to really practice your craft, especially for example, for the music theater singing part. If you feel like that day it's not your day to do audition, just don't go, because you don't want to just break your voices just in the middle of the audition. And also, for example, the dance. And some students coming for the in-person dance audition, they never ask what's the dance floor on that day in that particular venue, because that's very important. Some students, some school like EMDA, we require students to demonstrate ballet vocabulary. So that's why if you didn't bring the ballet shoes or the floor is not suitable for you on that day, your audition couldn't go well. So just to practice, and always ask your school if you have any questions before you actually enter that room. Yeah, that's my advice.
Thank you.
My colleagues did a great job. I don't have anything to add.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, we have another question. How long will a video or a presentation should be? What do you think it would be the adequate time limit?
Again, I think each university has different requirements. I'll say that I know there were specifically music students in the room that had questions. So for us, for music, you would submit no more than 10 minutes for a digital audition, and two contrasting styles. For something like film, it would be no more than 10 minutes total, and it can be multiple pieces, or it could be one piece up to 10 minutes. But again, you want to keep in mind that universities have a lot to look through. So it's okay if it's a couple of minutes, if it's strong work. So generally, you're going to be under 10 minutes for most institutions, but I'm sure my colleagues have their own advice.
Great. Any insights from Gil or Julian?
Yeah, for us, yeah, it's we like to keep it like, so we have like a 15-minute limit of stuff that you can show. Now that could be if you have one really good film and you want to show that one film, then you can certainly make it one film. But if you want to show different examples of stuff, then that's where you would kind of explain what you're presenting, what your role was, and then present different types of things. But as Sky was saying, you don't want to have, they're not going to watch an hour or 2 hours worth of stuff. They're just not going to do it, so you want to make sure. And also it goes back to the following instructions things. You want to make sure you are following the guidelines, and every school is going to have their different guidelines and different instructions there. So make sure you're following that. But for us specifically, if you do have one that's really good and you want to show a 15-minute film that's you're very proud of, then show that one film.
And for the live audition, so EMDA, we request for the acting program 2 contrasting monologue. Each monologue should not be over 2 minutes, and just like 1 or 2 minutes is fine. I remember it's 2 contrasting monologue. For the musical theater, the song should come from the musical repertory, and no more than I think it's either it's 30 a 2-car bar song or 2 minutes, which one is better for you. And another monologue for the music theater. For the dance theater program, it's just the length wise is will be 4 because it's the length of the song. So 4 minutes, that's enough. And also, I want to give some advice for the live audition. For example, the in-person audition. You know, when I travel around the world to see the candidate around the world, they always like, because AMDA's audition, we are not really create a very competitive kind of like vibe. We're very relaxed and stay back vibe. So that's why our adjudicator sometimes always ask students, do you have something more? Even though on our website, we say we only want to see 2 contrast mountable acting, but sometimes our faculty members say, do you have anything more? That's why I advise the students, if you go for the in-person audition, try to prepare something additionally, like a plan B. After these 2, you know, to main piece that you're gonna present, just like prepare something more in order to, you know, to demonstrate the more diversified that things that you can represent. That's my advice.
Excellent. All right, thank you. Now, when it comes to graphic design, I guess this will be maybe for Gail, or any of those fields. How do you create a portfolio when it comes to game design, designing games, for example? How do you go about maybe even acquiring a scholarship or even admissions in that sense?
Yeah, so video game design is an interesting one because it's not everybody has access to like the software that you're going to need to do it. If you do and you've done something small where you have different characters and things like that, then you would present that. But again, you know, at the beginning I mentioned that it's a creative portfolio, so you can show drawings, you can show different outlines. Maybe you have an idea of a show of a game. And you have the characters written down, you have the biography of the characters, the background. Maybe you have an idea of how the story is going to go within the game. So those are things that you would present in that sense in a creative portfolio. Maybe you have drawings of what you think the characters are going to look like. So then you would include that. So, you know, certainly if you have some sort of gameplay, even if it's something small, even if it's something, you know, that's 30 seconds long or whatever, you will include that. But if you don't, then, you know, you can go on with the outline, you can go with the story idea, you can go with the game idea, you can go with all these different things that you can include that's going to be part of the development of your game once you have the proper tools to do it. So, but that's a great question. But yeah, I would show anything creative and then show the ideas that you have.
Thank you.
I threw in the chat what our requirements are for game design and game development specifically, just to give you an idea. But again, we don't require you to have already had crazy technology access. You can just submit a storyboard if that is what you have. So you can read for more ideas.
Thank you. Now, we have a question on regards to financial aid or even scholarships. How are they really that competitive, and how do you do to get it? I know that some universities, just by submitting an application, you go ahead and they consider you for financial aid. What about in the arts field? How does that work?
I think I can answer that first. I think that's a part of usually when I travel around the world, people ask them the most. You know, kids know that STEM program, usually they have the research base, a lot of the scholarship available, but they don't know school like us, we still have a very wonderful scholarship provided to the students. So particularly, I think in my case, AMDA, we have 2 different types of the scholarship available for students. First one, we call international student talent scholarship. This scholarship is purely based on the student's performance through the audition. So nothing attached. There's no separate application to this talent scholarship. As long as you attended the audition and complete the application, you will be considered automatically. This amount can up to 17,000 US dollars per year. And this is just level 1. Level 2, we do have in-house international student grants, which is when you be accepted, and we will move you to for the financial aid officer, and they will evaluate your household income, your parents' taxes, something like that, to increase the number of the scholarship into what different level. So that's why I encourage students, don't hesitate if you decided to apply. And also, by the way, MDOT already waived this international application fee for all the students due to the COVID-19. So there's really nothing cost to apply. Yes, that's my response to that question.
Any insights from NIFA?
Yeah, we have we do have the talent base that's going to be based on your audition or your creative portfolio, and then we call it a needs-based award, which is based on like your family finances, which is a separate application you would fill out. There's an essay you would write describing it, and I encourage all international students to apply to this, because let's be honest, guys, if you're going from pesos, you're going from whatever it is to dollars, it's going to be a big difference, right? The United States isn't cheap, and particularly the cities that we're located in. We're located in very cosmopolitan cities, so any little bit will help you guys and do that. So between the talent based and the needs based, I mean, the maximum the school can give you is about 40% discount per year. So it is something significant. The other thing I encourage you guys to do is just go online and do some research on your own as well and see what is available. Certainly use Education USA as a resource also, because sometimes there might be things like, a certain ministry, like the Ministry of Technology, might have a certain amount of scholarships that they want to give out to students that want to do something in the tech field, right? And what's a tech field? Maybe video game design and animation falls under the tech field, right? So you never know what type of scholarships the government's offering as well. So do some of your own research, because you can certainly combine that with whatever the school offers as well.
We also offer about 40% of our tuition based on merit and portfolio submission. So always submit any extra materials that any university says that you can submit, just in case it helps get scholarship.
Thank you. Are there any opportunities for internships for art students? Yes. All right. Look at that. Hello. So cute.
So cute.
If you're studying in the US with a student visa, you can get internships. So there are internships for every single field in the US. And let's face it, what are we consuming like mad right now is arts. There are always going to be arts available. Netflix is art. And everybody all over the world.
You're mute.
I think it's your puppy's muting you. All right. Say so, it's okay with their answer.
We've had him 2 days.
All right. And one more last question. Is there a risk to sound or seem too aspirational in your application? When people review it or submit it, should we be more bold when it comes to applying, when it comes to your portfolio, when it comes to the materials that you submit?
Yeah, I think in terms of like the material you're showing, I think that you can never go wrong with being bold. Now, there's a certain line between the way you're presenting stuff, between being bold and being arrogant, which you don't want to be either, right? But I say definitely be bold with your work. And, at the end of the day, our art is very subjective. So definitely show your stuff. And again, we're looking to see your potential. We know you're not a finished product. We just want to see the stuff that you've done so far. And we know that you're coming to us to continue learning. So yeah, definitely be bold, find a way to kind of stand out. You don't want to just like, hear my videos, here are the links, blah, 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 like present that thing in a certain way where you're showing your creativity in the presentation as well.
Yeah, I agree with Jill, but I want to share a very little story about myself. 10 years ago, when I applied for the graduate school in Columbia University in New York, and I didn't go through the first round, but I kind of like, okay, I need to ask something about the admission director. So I send in a video essay, which is not required on the website. And the admission director gave me a call when I was in China to interview me. Finally, I got that acceptance letter. So you can see how flexible this admission cycle in our, my colleague has in each university. We don't want to set some limitations on you. As long as you think you want to give a try, go for it. and just to do it right, do it politely, and you will get what you want.
Those are great advice, everyone. Thank you so much. I definitely learned a lot because I was always interested in art. I'm a psychologist, but all arts has always been out there. It may be something that it's of great interest. So now we will provide you a short briefing moment for you guys to present on your institutions and different particular assets or programs that you may have. So we'll start with Gil at this moment.
Sure, thank you. And I do apologize that I got to run in a little bit, but let me get to where I share the screen real quick. Oh, I'm disabled from being able to share my thing.
Oops, let me see what happened there. There you go.
Thank you. All right. All right, so New York Film Academy, our locations, as I mentioned in the US, we're in New York, LA, and in South Beach and Miami. New York, we're located at the southern tip of Manhattan, right across from the Statue of Liberty. So if you're looking out our window, you can see the Statue of Liberty there. LA, we're located in between Warner Brothers and Universal Studios. And then in Miami, we're located right in the heart of Miami Beach, right on Lincoln Road, which is a pedestrian walkway that takes you from one end of the beach to the other. And it's surrounded by cafes, shops, restaurants. The different programs we offer, the two biggest ones, acting for film and filmmaking, but we do offer anything to do with cinema. And the biggest thing, guys, with these programs is they're all very, very hands-on, very, very interactive. So to give you an example, if you're doing filmmaking the first year that you're there, you're writing, directing, producing, and editing 8 short films of your own. You're going to work on 20 additional films because you'll be working as a crew member with your classmates on their films as well. So you're learning everything from lighting to sound to building the camera rigs and all those things. Actors, I've seen actors come out in 30 to 40 short films in 1 year because you're collaborating not only in your class, but also with the filmmaking students, photography students, producing students, cinematography. So you have that creative atmosphere under one roof, which is great. We have an awesome guest speaker series, and you can see here Spielberg, Al Pacino, Adam Driver. So every week we have different speakers from the industry come talk to the students at the campus. Obviously, these, Spielberg's not going there every week, but we do have a lot of great guest speakers that come, and as students, you'll have access to those speaker series as well. In terms of our alumni, you can go on our website and see what some of our alumni have been up to. Bill Hader won back-to-back Emmys for Best Actor in a comedic series, a comedic drama for his role in Barry. Issa Rae with Insecure, Aubrey Plaza, Parks and Recreation. That's just a few examples. Some of you guys may have seen the movie To All the Boys I've Loved Before on Netflix. Lara Condor also went to New York Film Academy. But if you go on the website, you guys can check by program and see what some of our alumni have been up to. In terms of like housing and visas, I know that's a big question everybody always has. The one thing I tell you to rest your mind is that once you start that application process, we will work with you guys every step of the way. So we do have housing and visa coordinators at all locations. If you are a student doing a program of 4 weeks or longer, it will be necessary for you to get a student visa, and our international student office will help you guys with that. The last thing you see here, OPT, is great because our outgoing president was doing a lot of stuff to kind of mess with that. Our new president, thankfully, believes in this. And what it is basically, if you study a program of a year or longer in the US, you will be eligible to do OPT, which is to work legally when you graduate. So you will have the opportunity to audition. You'll have the opportunity to work on different sets. You'll have the opportunity to basically work legally in the United States when you're here with the student visa. In terms of questions, guys, if you have any questions related to NYFA, here is my email. WhatsApp is obviously the easiest way to get in touch with me. It's quicker. Sometimes I have like over 200 emails and it's tough to get to, and obviously a lot slower. So WhatsApp's the best way to reach me. That is a work number. So it doesn't matter what time you message me. It's not vibrating. I'm not looking at it on weekends or at nights. Just keep that in mind. But I will get to it eventually. But definitely reach out to me if you guys have any questions related to the school. But I want to thank you guys for your time here today.
Thank you. I think it's my turn, right? Okay, great. So AMDA. So AMDA is called American Music and Dramatic Academy. Our school started back in 1964 at the Musical Theater Training School in Upper West Side in New York. And ever since then, we started to offer wonderful program in musical theater, acting, and dance theater. Right now, we have 2 campuses across United States, by coast and New York City and Los Angeles. And by the major wise, we're very dedicated to the performing arts. That's why we only have acting, musical theater, dance theater, and now we have one more program we call the theater arts. It's more traditional program. And also we have the master program available start from 2021 for international students, which is Master of the Arts in Theater Arts and MFA in Media and Writing. I do want to mention our alumni because, to see how good or the quality of this performing arts university, I think one of the factor is that how many alumni you can see graduated from this particular school and doing their job in this theater worlds. My fellow thespian, I always want to say, check out there is a magazine called playbill.com. Every year they will rank how many performer on Broadway they are graduated from which school. In 2019, AMDA number made it rank number 5. In that year, we have over 55 students, our alumni, perform on different production on Broadway. And this number is just Broadway production. If we see like West End in United Kingdom, Australia, South Africa, and Asia, or even in the United States national tour, you will see, well, a lot of the AMDA face. That's why when I travel to China, I can see AMDA's face in Evita, China Vision. And in Tokyo, I can see AMDA's face in West Side Story. That's amazing. I think one of the reasons why make AMDA's alumni so successful is our faculty member. Our faculty member is different from the traditional faculty member because our faculty member from the day 1. We carry that mission, our faculty member should be or need to be the working professional. So that's why you are always learn from the best in this industry. So you are not learning from someone who hasn't been performing for over 30 years. That's why, because our program is very, very practical. As an international student, I tell that for you, how important you can have this mentor, no matter it's your guidance counselor or your professor, can really help you hand in hand, no matter it's from international student office or just a regular faculty member or a guest that come to the school to talk to you, can give you the chance to introduce you to a lot of the opportunity networking. This industry, theater worlds, is all about networking. So that is our, really, really big takeaway for our AMDA's faculty member. Yeah, that's all for AMDA. And I think I will turn the floor to Sky.
Thank you so much, everyone. So Columbia College Chicago, we are right smack dab in the middle of downtown Chicago, 3rd largest city in the US. That big beige building you see is one of our residence halls, and the building just in front of it with the turquoise is one of our academic buildings. There we go. So we only have majors in visual performing, media and communication arts, and arts business. So creative majors, but we run the gamut. So we aren't super focused in one area. Like my friends, we have all the things. And we have about 7,000 students, small class sizes, 18 students or less in a class, 60 plus countries represented. A third of our students self-identify as LGBTQIA+. What that means is that we are a very welcoming campus. We celebrate all identities of our student body. So here's a more comprehensive list of all of our majors so you can really see all the things. And by the way, I know there were some fashion students. I wanted to address that really quickly. For our fashion portfolio, you just have to submit 10 images that show how you engage with the industry, which can be images that you shoot on your smartphone. So to give you an idea of the film is our largest major, but we also have arts management, which for that portfolio requirement, you would just have to submit an essay and any ideas that you have, anything that you've made that is creative, you are welcome to submit. There's the center of downtown Chicago. It's a beautiful city. We're on the 7th largest lake in the world. It's a great clean lake. I walk by it every day with my dogs. And Columbia College Chicago is committed to being an anti-racist institution. We recognize that this is an ongoing commitment and process filled with mistakes and learning opportunities. We encourage our students to infuse their process with furthering conversations about diversity, inclusion, equity, and anti-racism in society at large. Our tuition's $28,000 US a year. Our room and board is 16 and a half. And we require the portfolio and audition if you want to enter a BFA program. Otherwise, we automatically look at you for merit-based scholarships when you submit your application. And then to qualify for the maximum amount, you must submit a portfolio. Thank you so much. And let me know if you have any questions. I also have a business WhatsApp, so you're welcome to message me on that number, and I will get back to you during the work week. Thank you so much. You are muted, Jackson.
I'm sorry. Thank you everyone again for joining us, and thank you for AMDA and CCC, as I call it, and Heal That Left, NIFA, for providing all of this insightful information when it comes to applying to the arts field. It's been really helpful, I think, for all of our network to learn so much on the applications process and the different procedures that students need to follow when it comes to applying to the arts fields. So thank you so much. I know that you may have to run, and I appreciate it. And you guys have the contact information. Reach out to Education USA, state.gov for to find your nearest advising center, and we'll be more than happy to help you guys. Don't forget, next week we have another webinar on the different English test programs that are available. That will be on December 2nd. All right, so don't miss it out. Thank you everyone, and have a great afternoon. Bye.